here's one thing her body does in the first 3 seconds around you that she can't fake, and once you see it, you'll never mistreat a woman again. 1. When a woman is genuinely into you but doesn't want you to know it yet, the very first thing that changes is her breathing pattern around you, not her words. Watch her chest and shoulders the next time you walk into a room she's in. If she likes you and is fighting it, you'll notice a tiny catch in her breath, almost like she forgot to exhale for a second, followed by her trying to look busy immediately after. This happens because her nervous system reacts to your presence before her brain has time to control the reaction. Women who are indifferent to you don't have this menopause. Women who are secretly attracted do. Every single time, whether they want to or not to. Pay close attention to how she talks about you when you're not directly in the conversation. A woman trying to hide her feelings will often downplay you on purpose, calling you just a friend or not really my type way too quickly and way too firmly, almost like she's convincing herself more than she's convincing anyone else. That overcorrection is the giveaway. People who genuinely don't care about someone don't feel the need to defend their lack of interest that strongly. If she is working overtime to convince her friends she don't like you, it usually means the opposite is true. And she knows it. 3. Notice her phone behavior, specifically when she's around you versus when she's not. A woman suppressing her attraction will often put her phone face down, slide it into her bag, or stop scrolling the second you walk over, even if she was in the middle of something important. This isn't random. It's a subconscious signal that she wants your attention fully on her, and she doesn't want a text notification or a group chat pulling focus away from the moment you two are sharing, even if she'd never admit that out loud. If this is opening your eyes even a little, hit that like button right now and subscribe. It genuinely helps this channel keep bringing you the psychology breakdown that actually change how you see relationships. Don't scroll past without showing some love. It takes 2 seconds and it means everything. 4. Watch what happens to her voice pitch, specifically in the first 10 seconds of a conversation with you. Women who like you but are trying to act casual will often start a sentence slightly higher pitched than normal, then consciously lower it a few words in, like they caught themselves sounding too excited and dilated back. This vocal correction is almost impossible to fake or control consciously, which is exactly why it's one of the most reliable signs in female psychology when it comes to hidden attraction. 5. Her physical positioning in a group setting tells you more than any conversation will. A woman who's genuinely trying to hide that she likes you will as well, without realizing it, angle her feet and torso toward you, even by talking to someone else entirely. Feet are the most honest part of the body because people rarely think to control them. If her feet consistently point toward you across a room full of people, her brain has already made a decision. Her mouth hasn't caught up to it. What's the one small, mildly gesture that's ever made you melt without even meaning to? Tell me below. I might feature your answer in the next video. 6. Notice how she treats the small mistakes you make. A woman who's indifferent will either ignore your slip-ups or genuinely tease you about them without much emotional weight behind it. A woman who's secretly attracted and trying to act unbothered will often overcorrect the other way, getting weirdly defensive on your behalf or laughing a little too hard to cover up how much your mistake actually mattered to her. In that moment, that perspective reflects as an emotional investment showing through a crack in the mask. 7. Track how often she remembers a small, specific details you mentioned once in passing. This is one of the most underrated signs because it's not flashy, it's quiet and consistent. If she brings up something you said weeks ago, something you barely remember saying yourself, that means her brain feel like you as important enough to store details about. People don't do this level of mental bookmarking for someone they're neutral toward. It takes emotional energy to remember, and she's spending that energy on you without even realizing it. 8. Watch her reaction the moment another woman gets close to you in a social setting. A woman trying not to show her feelings will usually stay outwardly calm, maybe even overly friendly toward the other woman, but her body language will shift subtly, arms crossing slightly tighter, her laugh becoming a touch more forced, her attention darting back to you more frequently than the conversation requires. She is not trying to be dramatic. She's trying to manage a feeling she doesn't want anyone, including herself, to notice. 9. Notice the timing of her replies when you text her, not just the content. A woman who likes you but as a playing it cool will often leave your message unread for a while, not because she is busy, but because she is consciously trying not to seem too eager or available. Then, when she does respond, the message is longer and more thought out than a casual reply would be. That gap between response time and response effort is a classic sign of someone managing their own excitement in real time. 10. Pay attention to how she acts right after she catches herself laughing too hard at something you said. Women who are trying to hide the attraction will often laugh, then almost immediately try to tone it down, covering their mouths, looking away, or quickly changing the subject like the laugh reveals something they didn't mean to show you. That instant self-correction after genuine amusement is one of the clearest emotional tests in everyday interaction. And most men completely miss it because they're focused on the joke instead of her reaction to her own reaction. Which sign from this list have you noticed in someone but ignored? Number 4 or number 9? Drop the number below 11. Notice what happens with her hands, specifically when the conversation turns even slightly personal. A woman suppressing attraction will often start touching her own hair, adjusting jewelry, or fidgeting with something nearby the moment the topic shifts from small talk to anything real. This isn't nervousness about the conversation itself. It's her body releasing tension because being emotionally close to you, even for a moment, activates a physical response she is trying to manage without you noticing. 12. Watch how she handles silence between you two. Comfortable silence with someone you don't care about feels awkward and people usually rush to fill it. A woman who's secretly into you but hiding it will often let a silence sit a little longer than normal, almost enjoying it, then catch herself and quickly say something to break the moment before it gets too obvious. That brief pause before she speaks again is her fighting the urge to just sit there and enjoy being near you. 13. Notice how she reacts when you cancel plans or shop late. A woman who's indifferent will shrug it off easily and move on without a second thought. A woman who likes you and is trying not to show it will usually say it's fine, but her tone will carry a flatness that wasn't there before, and she'll often overcompensate afterward by being extra warm the next time she sees you, almost like she's making up for the disappointment she doesn't want you to know she felt. 14. Pay attention to her eye contact pattern, specifically when you're mid-sentence talking about something you're passionate about. Women trying to hide attraction will often maintain intense eye contact while you're speaking, almost studying your face, and then look away quickly the second you finish talking and make eye contact back. That timing matters, watching you while you talk but avoiding your eyes right after you stop is a subconscious way of absorbing you without getting caught staring. 15. Notice how she introduces you to other people in her life. A woman who genuinely trying to downplay her feelings will often introduce you in a slightly overly casual way, like "this is just my friend," with a tone that's a little too rehearsed. But watch her body language during the introduction itself. If she stands closer to you than to the other person or keeps glancing at you while explaining who you are, the words say one thing while everything else says another. Did she ever do number 15 with you and you didn't realize what it meant until now? 16. Pay attention to what she does with things you give her. Even small things like a jacket when she's cold or a snack you hand over without thinking. A woman who's indifferent will use it practically and forget about it. A woman who's secretly attracted will often hold on to it a little longer than necessary. Mention it again later or treat it with more care than the object actually deserves. Small objects become meaningful when they're connected to someone she is emotionally invested in, whether she admits that connection or not. 17. Notice the reaction speed when you mention another woman you might be interested in. A woman who's neutral toward you won't have much of a reaction at all. A woman who likes you and is trying to hide it will often go quiet for a bit too long before responding, or she'll ask a question that sounds casual but is actually gathering information, like, oh, how long have you known her? That slight delay and follow-up curiosity is jealousy wearing everything disguise of politeness. Check out the playlist. Healthy bonding strategies and the depths of relationships go even deeper into everything we covered. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me which song hit closest to home. Your stories are what makes this community what it is. 18. Watch what happens to her posture, specifically when you enter a room she didn't know you'd be in. A woman suppressing attraction will often straighten up almost instantly, sometimes adjusting her clothes or hair in the first few seconds without even realizing she's doing it. This is an unconscious attempt to present her best self the moment you're around, and it happens fast enough that most people don't catch it. But once you know what to look for, you'll see it every time. 19. Once, how she remembers your bad days versus your good days. A woman who genuinely invested but hiding it will often check in about something stressful you mentioned once, days or even weeks later, in a way that feels almost accidental, like she just happened to think of it. That's not an accident. That's her mind circling back to your well-being, because on some level she cares more than she is letting herself show, and that kind of quiet consistency matters more than any grand romantic gesture ever could. 20. Pay attention to how she acts the moment a conversation between you two gets interrupted by someone else. A woman who's indifferent won't mind the interruption at all. A woman who's secretly distracted and trying to hide it will often show a flicker of irritation, a tightening around the mouth, or a slightly shorter response to whoever interrupted before quickly softening her expression so nobody notices that she was annoyed. That flicker is real, and it's one of the fastest emotional tells because it happens before she has time to control it. 21. Notice her behavior in the specific moment right before she says goodbye to you. A woman trying not to show her feelings will often linger slightly, finding one more small thing to say or ask, extending the interaction by even 30 seconds longer than it needed to go. Then she'll catch herself say goodbye a little too quickly afterward, almost like she's cutting herself off before she lingers even more. That push and pull in the final moments of an interaction is one of the most honest signs in all of female psychology, because it happens right when her guard is naturally starting to drop. 22. Understand that all of these signs together tell a much bigger story than any single one on its own. And that story is this: a woman who genuinely doesn't care about your well-being can stand in her indifference, calm and unaffected in very situation without exception. But a woman who likes you and is trying not to show it will constantly contradict herself in small human ways, saying one thing while her body, her timing, and her reactions say something completely different. Learning to read that gap between what she says and what she actually does isn't about playing games or analyzing every little moment. It's about understanding real human psychology well enough to stop missing the people who are quietly, nervously, and honestly showing you they care even when their words are still catching up to their feelings. So remember, a woman who truly doesn't care about you stays consistent and unaffected, but a woman who likes you and is trying to hide it will always contradict herself. Her words say one thing while her body says another. Learn to read that gap and you'll never miss the signs again. So what actually makes a woman feel instant, almost uncontrollable attraction to a man, the kind she can't logic her way out of? That's exactly what we're breaking down next. The instant attraction trick most men never learn. Catch it in the next video. I'll see you there.